Hi everyone! I would like to welcome you all to another guide on my channel. This time from the How to Play 53TP series. And in today's episode I will show you how to play this tank on different maps. So, the first battle will be on the Pearl River, the second will be on the Safe Haven, and the third will be in the Siegfried line. This episode was created at the request of one of my viewers. We are in the first battle. I have a draw with 8s and 9s, and on this side of the map I always go to the right, although I could go to the middle, but I'm not as fast enough to get there on time and find some way to beat the light or medium tanks that have already climbed the hill. So that's why I'm choosing the right side. Fortunately, my two heavy tanks are also coming here, so I'll have some support. However, I don't know how this game will go. The opposing heavy tanks are quite strong, such as Emil 2. If he plays for the tower, now this SMVC will also appear. These two are arriving. Some tanks have already arrived here, and unfortunately, but one of the left side where the Italian destroyer is, I can't play too much well, because he plays for the rook and I have a quite large pot and I don't have as much lowering of the cannon as I would like, and I don't have much of a way to find a beat for him, so that's why I choose the middle. For that moment I wanted to find a shot on the Emil 2. As you saw, a break so that I disappear from the light bulb, and now I advanced. I thought that I would lower the barrel enough that maybe I could find some impact on him. He shows some hull, but it's not enough, because each of my swings, as you saw, causes me to see only the turret, so I decided to give up the fight against him. And I also wondered about, at this point, does it make sense to just play here on this side for a while longer, because I don't have much time to do anything here. And a nice option is maybe to go to the middle, because that's where there are tanks like the M3 Yacht, T-54 lightweight, and here I am able to get there relatively safe. I also wanted to help this Tiger Mouse here, because I see that these opponents are purring out. Well, seeing that the IFAs has already died, the best decision unfortunately is to run away, especially since there are 5 tanks on the side where I was now, at least. So as you can see, not only does Tiger Mouse die quickly, but I would die just as quickly now, very quickly. Important moment. I'm asking for help with my destroyers that are in the base, because the VIII is in such a place that it is unlikely to get a light bulb after a shot. So I am making sure that these allies are definitely targeted here somehow, that they are interested in what is happening. And now I'm waiting in such a position that I partially hide my hull and expose the turret more. And now I was hoping that maybe this Emil 2 will come out somehow. Unfortunately, this shot was a bit off target at the turret. I probably couldn't penetrate it, because here on the APCR missless there is some 250mm, is a very poor result for gold bullets. Instead these T-32 appear, and now I'm fully focused on this Hori. I tried to shoot at the hull, unfortunately I couldn't find a match for it, and only now at this moment I fired a penetration shot at the Emil, and seeing that a tank was shooting at me from behind, I realized that Tiger 2 was on my back. So my immediate reaction was I turned to face him, because seeing that he had the slope gun that fires at 280, there is always a chance that it won't be lucky for me, and I managed to finish it with a shot at the bottom plate. So I finished off the tank that was temporarily threatening me, and now I can finally turn on those tanks that have moved. This Hori or this T-32. I still have some tanks on him. I have to watch out for this Emil 2, so that I can accidentally get here, he didn't come out and try to shoot me. I'm a hit in almost everything. I have to watch out for the artillery all the time because it has a great hit here. And once again, the tanks appears in the back, this time much more dangerous because it's a G-sword that shoots after 360. So my reaction is that even I now move so much forward just to escape from him, I would rather die from this Emil 2 later than from this G-sword, because I know that the Emil probably won't make it just like that, because I have the support of the VIII. So I'm relatively safe here, and this G-sword probably also figured out that I have some support, so he also saw that I'm not running away. So now I'm constantly making sure that my allies will help me, just in case of emergency. And now, luckily, my AMX 1390 from the team decided to go after Emil. He finished him off, and now I can safely drive through the middle. I noticed an important thing on the minimap, that this SMVC just decided to go around the map. And as soon as I noticed that he was passing in that direction, I immediately turned around and decided to go to find some more beatings on him, and as you saw, he managed to fire one shot. Also reacted quickly to what was happening on the minimap. And now this SMC will probably die. I decide to go near the center because there are tanks like Charfutur or that Gisor that tried to destroy me earlier. And with the help of allies like the T-34 too, which unfortunately is a hit, I was hoping that some other tanks would be coming, and so you see there are fortunately some kind of tanks like that Su-130 PM which arrives, and now I can't lean out because I will get a light bulb, and this Gisor is targeted here. He doesn't expect me, but his reaction may be quite quick and he may still be able to destroy me, so I wouldn't risk it if I were on the verge of hit. So now I can't afford to make any shot, even the artillery, which also has me practically one shot, especially since these are the 9 tiers. Now the Charfutur is fully reloaded, has already fired its first shot, but it still has 3 bullets, and now I can't just go for it. So the only tank that can take anything is my T-30, and he finished off part of the Charfutur, and now without the light bulb I just keep driving, and there is only the T-30 left, which it hasn't been visible for a quite long time, and it has a lot of resistance to artillery, so I wouldn't even count on doing anything with it. So I decided to drive to the place where it was last visible. I also tried to go down very slowly, so that definitely not to crash, because such distance often end when we do it too quickly. By some miracle, we may just crash the tank, and at least it happened to me several times, even from such a small hill, so in such situations I try to be very careful. Because there is still a chance to do something, and in this place where I am now going up the hill, there would be also a chance to hit the T-30 there, but it probably won't lean out the same way as it did for the ISO of my teammate, and it is very possible that this AMX will simply end the T-30. This is what happened. The result was 15-8 victory. The draw was with 9s, and I managed to do 2947 damage and 2 frags. So this is what the first battle looked like. Now let's move on to the second one. We are in the second battle. We have a draw this time with 10s, 9s and 8s. Safe haven map. And in this situation I have few heavy tanks, but I head to the right side, and almost always with a tank such as the VIII or some other less armored heavy tank, some turret destroyer. He's probably heading here towards the hangars on the right. It would be a stupid decision to go somewhere near the hangars that are on the line E, where most heavy tanks always go, typically armored ones. As well as now you saw this first shot here. It's just the habit of automatically aiming in front of the tank that is passing from left to right. And I was aimed and I immediately wanted to shoot, but the object stopped where I didn't expect at all. And because of this automatic reaction I didn't manage to do anything. Well, as you know, on this tank reloading takes 10 seconds, so it's probably 10 seconds more than that. He wouldn't have just stood there, so I don't know what happened that made him have to stop. I just don't waste time. I know that rather no tanks will be able to pass like that there anymore, because most of the heavy tanks have already reached the vicinity of these hangars. And now I'm just testing, using a marker because I lean out in which direction the Jagdpanzer is leaning, and I didn't manage to penetrate it the first time, despite the turret was slightly sideways. Well, the second time, as you can see now, I keep highlighting it to check which direction it is turned. Well, the second time I managed to get one shot in. I see that K91 PT, which it went too far, so it did. Side scrape at him so as to lean out as little as possible and to focus my attention only on him. I fired one shot and now I hope that maybe this Jagdpanzer will lean out like that again. But he decided to retreat even further back, so this move will probably not be effective anymore. He probably won't make the same mistake again. A 1-to-1 result. One of my allies at this moment in Conquer asks me for help, and I see what is happening on the minimap. I know that tanks such as Tortoise have just arrived. There are still such visible opposing tanks such as the Conqueror or the Object 252 that he was passing by earlier. And I know that they are standing somewhere behind and seeing that this Tortoise came so close. I know that they are standing somewhere behind and seeing that this Tortoise came so close, I thought that maybe I would find the way to beat him, and that's exactly what happened. Now this trip may be a bit stupid, but in moments like this, when instead of doing a side scrape, I just go out and beat rashly, these opponents are shocked and don't expect that someone will go out like that. So at the time when I took the shot, I was already partially aimed, and this one Tortoise was just aiming at me, so my reaction time was simply faster. Now I'm trying to drive up to detect this Object 252. Here he also has no idea that how can I hit from such a place. The embankment in front of me partially covers my path, so he probably doesn't see any weak spot where he could hit me. He's still shooting at me and missing. I managed to hit the bottom plate with the first shot and the second hits the turret. You can see that he gave up, even though the stabilization on this tank is not perfect. You saw that these two shots simply hit the target, so there would be a good chance that I would have hit him the third time, and maybe we would have been finished it. Now I see that the situation on our left side looks terrible. We are losing by 3-7, almost all the tanks there were destroyed. The first shot at this T-44 was unsuccessful, but the second shot went in after it disappeared because it stopped, and that was it. I expected him to aim at me. The marker was also glowing green for a moment. I wanted to take this shot a little more quickly. Even though there was a chance to hit him, he still managed to do this side scrape, and he was already sideways, then turned around. I waited yet. For a moment I thought that this Su-130 PM would somehow want to take advantage of these bushes and lean behind this stone. Unfortunately, I can't stand here for too long because the result is getting worse. And even though I don't see the other tanks, these Su-130 PM are driving behind the stone. Then I decided to change the position and go back to the right side again. Because there I see the tanks such as the Jagdpanzer or the Conqueror, it is not yet known wherever another tank has arrived there. Score 5-11. The situation looks tragic. I am now leaning out this Jagdpanzer. I could have been aimed and turned towards me, but instead it was a Conqueror. A shot at the lower plate. It could have entered because it was aimed well, but unfortunately it hit the upper plate, as you saw. Well, I don't have enough penetration for that because it is quite weak. Now I see that there are no tanks at the front, so I decide to choose the tanks that are approaching us from the rear through the hangar. But I also attach great importance to this aiming, especially if there are situations like this where the tank is still moving. And now an object 430U approaches. I fire a shot at its upper plate. Here I am trying to turn to face it, but my tank is a bit blocked here. Now I probably won't be able to fire another shot. I was aiming at this Su-130 PM, but with the T-44 RAM it kills me well. Unfortunately, we are losing this battle. The score is 6-15. This time it's failure, but despite everything, we managed to achieve a very good result. Now I can show you the final results of this battle, so that you can see that we managed to fire this one shot at this T-44. And now you can see I managed to do 3338 damage, 1 frag, and detected 3 vehicles. These are the final results of this battle. Now let's move on to the third one. Here's another battle, and this time the Siegfried line has a draw with only 8s. And again, we are in the standard battle. There are some heavy tanks, 5 on each side, and in a such situation I always head for sector F6, where there is an embankment, and thanks to the fact that I will be able to use it. I will be able to play for the tower and simply try to fight the opposing heavy tanks, and I almost always go there. Even with this tank, it turns out to be effective as it is the 8th tier. So this penetration, however, it is enough here if I also try to shoot at weak spots. There won't be any problem. I drive up to the embankment. I can already see that most heavy tanks, especially heavy tanks, are heading the city. Now I'm waiting for the first target. IS-6 appears. Here this shot was also a bit of target. However, I was aiming at these spots because it is only weak spot I can shoot at. I ran out of time. I choose the tower of Arouse to the side of it because at the hull. I ran out of time. I choose the tower of Arouse to the side of it because at the hull. It could go a bit wrong. The only place where I would pierce it would be the cheeks. Now I take another shot at the turret of this AMX-65, and there was a marker in green for a moment, so I decided to shot a little at the upper part of the turret, and I didn't manage to penetrate it the second time. I shot at the pot because it temporarily shot it and I succeeded. Now go to IS-6 and I am also aiming at the pots. I am already quite aimed and I am just trying to lean out to take the shot, seeing that he's also aimed. He's already hit me once and this pot, so I have to keep moving front and back as soon as he fires a shot. I just had to reduce the risk of being punctured because of my endurance. Well, you know, it's not that great, it's 8 tiers and I don't carry any improved reinforcement here. And now I decided to change my position because I see what's going on the middle. In the middle is a tank like this 53 TP that I decided to approach. And I'm making advantage of this opportunity. Just looking at what's happening on the minimap. I'm trying to shoot at the tanks that are leaning out stupidly, looking for these opportunities because it's such a long fight. Well, now I'm standing here longer in this place, watching what's going on. And IS-6 is moving to this charge there, and I decide to shoot at him. I managed to find the sideline again. Now I see that the heavy tanks are in the same position in which I got up earlier. I drove up to this embankment of mine and I decided to turn around and just fire as many shots as possible. You can see that the result is 2-5, so theoretically we will lose this battle, but I didn't want it to let that happen. So I'm focusing on the side. I see that my allies are engaged. They are just shooting at the heavy tanks that are in front of me, and now I'm focusing all of my attention on to finish them one by one. Now I choose the type 63 and he didn't expect me to shoot at him between these pillars. I have a perfect hit on his bottom plate and I want to win this battle, so I just try to react quickly to the situation and finish off as many tanks as possible in the shortest possible time. Now I keep an eye on my rear all the time, because like the IS-6 from my team, I noticed that along zero line there are also approaching opposing destroyers, and this AMX CDA 105, for example, has already gone so far that it is near our base. I don't have anyone who could detect somehow, so I'm a bit trapped, sitting here in this place, and I probably won't leave it. Now the departure of this Su-130 PM. Unfortunately, I managed to get one shot. Another important moment was now. You saw that the 53 TP from the enemy team came at me, and now he should have calmly fired a shot at me, the fuselage, and not finished me. But I do such a maneuver that I just drive up to its embankment. I move practically all the time. I hide my lower plate, I only partially extend the upper one, and I also side scrape him. So when he moves, this way he just misses and shoots not where he wants. And thanks to this, I managed to survive 2 shots from him and fire 2 shots at him. Unfortunately, here again, maybe a second or less was missing. As if I had retreated to this building, you already saw that I was turning towards these guardsmen. Maybe we could have fired one more shot at him. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. But as you saw, we managed to do a lot in the city. Our allies finished off some tanks. They took over the left side, and now we will win this battle. I finally managed to do 3800 damage and 2 frags, and this is what all 3 battles what I wanted to show you today looked like. I hope it turned to be useful, especially for those players who are just starting their adventure with this tank or who don't know how to play it. I hope that these different moves that I have shown here will definitely make that game easier for you, and that you will also know how to react in different situations in the battle, and this will allow you to do more damage. In the end, whether it's a win or a lose or a draw with 8s, 9s or 10s. If so, you can leave a thumbs up, and if you would like to stay up to the date with my next materials, then you could also subscribe so that you don't miss any of them. If you have any suggestions for the next episodes, you can write about them in the comments below, and then I will make a special episode at someone's request with a tank that you suggest. So that's it for today, so I say goodbye to you, see you soon.